Well, we didn't get any rain last night. No surprise. I told Jordan last night, we ain't gonna get nothing overnight. Nothing's gonna show up on radar in the morning. We're gonna get going, we'll load up the seed, get to the next field, get the inrows planted, and the bottom's gonna drop out. So to ensure that's gonna happen, we're gonna load up with 100 acres worth of seed here. And switching varieties, we got Delta Pine 2115, early season variety, really high yield. Doesn't look physically impressive even when it's ready to harvest, but the pounds have been there whenever we used it. So 100 acre seed, we need to put 16 bags in here to get us. So oh, almost forgot my seatbelt. Never forget your seatbelt. All right, we're loaded up. We're going to attempt something today. Some stuff just popped up on radar and it's building big time. However, I think it's going to go just to our north. So until we get rained out, we're going to try it. Because I guarantee you, if I was to sit twiddling my thumbs in the office there, we wouldn't get a drop of rain. Anyway, once this line moves through, if we don't get any rain out of it, I think we'll be okay until probably later this afternoon or tonight. So that's the hope. Keep our fingers crossed. We happen to miss this line of storms, and if worst comes to worst, if we do happen to get hit here in Crockett County, this same variety is going on in Madison County, which is that way, which is even less likely to get hit by this line of storms. So, you know, worst comes to worst, you know, we might be able to move up there and keep on planting, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But here comes Andy. Looks like he just got done spraying the cell phone tower for him there. Yeah, because we're not, you know, don't have to crimp it because we plowed it up. I sent him over there to get it sprayed. Andy Kelly ought to be on her way with a water truck there shortly. I told her to hold off on starting to spray immediately until I get like about half done with the cell phone tower farm. There's a pretty nasty line of storms. I think it's going to miss us and go to the north, but if it kind of builds to the southwest, it could hit us, and I don't want to get, you know, a big part of that farm sprayed and then get rained out. So by the time I'm half done, we ought to know whether that line's going to hit us or not.
The National Weather Service in Memphis has gone out like 3 times now. It said something's setting up, but I hope it goes around us.
You and me both, man. Anyway, I was saying it's probably one of the not smarter farm decisions I've made, but a lot of the other smart farm decisions that I've made haven't panned out because we wound up not getting what the weather was predicting. So if it weren't so late in the cotton planting window, I definitely wouldn't be planting today. You know, if it was May 10th, nah, I wouldn't be planting today, but it's May 16th. Well, we'll find out in about a week to a week and a half whether I'm making the right decision today or not. Ooh, won't you look at this, a freshly paved road in Crockett County. Well, we just don't hardly ever see that very often, and I have no idea why they paved this road, because it sure ain't a busy road. I can think of several others that need it worse than what this one did, like the one that goes right by my shop. But boy, it sure is nice to ride on. But this is a pavement I'll probably be looking at for the rest of my life, because I doubt it will get repaved again in my lifetime. Yeah, here we are, cell phone tower farm with no more cell tower. Nice big open. And now that we got all of this plowed up and smoothed up and everything, I expect this field to be about as smooth as that fresh blacktop right out there. All right, before we get blowing going, because we're switching to, from planting in high biomass cover crop no-till to planting into straight conventional till, we need to check and make sure that everything's adjusted right on the planter now with the automatic control on the furrow force, delta force and everything. The changes I should have to make should be minimal, but definitely want to check the depth, because the last thing we want to do in this conventional till ground is put that seed too deep. This soil gets a hard packing rain and crust over, that cotton ain't coming up. Yeah, there's one I just kicked out. Yeah, there's one right there. I mean, it's a half inch, maybe slightly less in the ground, so that will work. Check another one here real quick. Well, there's the one I just picked out. Yeah, they're plenty shallow. Yep. Everything's a-okay. Now, I did lower the automatic setting on my delta force and my furrow force. I was using the heavy mode for my delta force. And also I had my furrow force set at 40 PSI, but anyway, I reduced the setting up there to, I think, 30 PSI on that, and then my delta force, I reduced it back to standard. I'll tell you what, that's one thing I absolutely love about this planter and the way I set it up and everything. All these components were expensive, but not only do they allow me to do a great job in high biomass cover crop, I mean, all the systems work well. I mean, just as you saw with just a couple of minor adjustments on the monitor, I went from planting in some of the toughest planting conditions a planter will have to go through to planting conventional till and doing an absolutely picture perfect job. Tell you what, Precision Planting they got their components dialed in on how well their systems work, and it really makes a difference. I sure hope we can get this farm done before the rain gets here, because I mean, truth be known, it's still a little heavy out here, and the last rain it got on it was Monday evening, and it didn't really get that much rain Monday, and it's now Friday. I mean, this ground's still heavy and had several days of good drying weather. I mean, we get a rain on today before I get planted. This will probably be the last field we get to plant, or we're going to finish up planting, because it's going to take that long to dry out. I can't tell you how long it's been since I've seen a marker furrow like that. I mean, it was probably in the 90s last time I saw a marker furrow like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I know I really push our no-till cover crop system and how much better it is for the land, how it's going to lead us to long-term sustainability and all that kind of stuff. But there's not going to be any denying it. Conventional till is fun. It's way more fun than no-till. Well, I gotta say, it's taken 2 years of hard work, but I'm really liking this farm now. We're getting right here in the area where that radio tower was. It was sitting over here, and then of course we had 6 guide wires coming way out here, so the best part of the field we were having to drive around and everything, but now that tower's gone, the guide wires are gone, all the electrical poles are gone, the shed's gone, and I mean, we got a nice, for the most part, we got a really nice big wide open field. The only kind of aggravating part of this farm now is right over here there's a pond, and then there's a real steep area kind of behind the pond. It's a little aggravating, but like 85% of this field is like super nice now. Real easy farm, long straight rows. Now it's smooth. I think we got our drainage areas done pretty well. You see there's a dark area of dark green right in here, then another one over there, which kind of symbolizes that there might still be a little bit of a drainage issue there. But I mean, overall, all of this last year was just wet. I mean, it wouldn't drain out. Now that we got those ditches graded out to the proper depth, all the water's flowing off of it, and other than this pond right here, I mean, this is a real nice farm. on this back half of the farm, right down here below the pond, and then you can kind of see the hillside on the other side of the pond. It's really steep. But other than that, this is perhaps the best cattle pasture farm I've ever picked up and rehabilitated. All right, this is the last pass on this farm. We got our conventionally tilled field planted and didn't get rained on. Now just keep our fingers crossed we don't get a hard pounding rain that crusts the ground over and makes us have to come over here and replant, or get saturated with a bunch of rain and rot the seed. And it looks like that original line of storms, it went just to the north of us, and looks like we'll be able to keep on rolling the dice, put some more acres in the ground today. I checked my acres. This officially makes we are half done with cotton planting. Well, the first round of cotton planting anyway. Yeah, we got about 265 acres in the ground so far. Heck, we probably could have been 320 acres by now if we were, you know, all conventional till or just strictly no till without the cover crops. That crimper is just the bottleneck in our cotton planting operation, but, you know, as expensive as crimpers are now, you know, to get a bigger crimper, I mean, you're probably looking at $45,000, $50,000. You know, it's just, it's not worth it to spend all that money to upgrade to a larger crimper, you know, to save you a half a day to 1 day's worth of cotton planting. So we'll just have to keep on making do with what we got. But Kelly and Andy been working over here on Ellington for quite a while. Well, probably about an hour, hour and a half. So I know Kelly's definitely way out in front of me, and hopefully Andy is too, and I won't have to sit around and wait on him.
All right, so I am done over here in Ellington, and the boys are on the front field, and now we're about to venture back to the front. I say venture because look at this road. I'm gonna put on the brake and I have my foot on my dog. Baby, I have to keep you because we're going downhill. You're gonna slide to the front. All right, Mimi. Oh, look at the bunny. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Oh, do I go with high side or low side? I don't even know. Oh, sliding. If we get any more like torrential downpours, this is just gonna get worse. Plus, not only that, but if you look over here to the right, in just a second, on our tour, look at that. Look at all that sand. That was not here a month ago. And now we have this like little pond thing going over here. And like, oh look, a beach. Yeah. Woo. It's always an adventure when we come back here. That's a lot of sand. Holy cow. Might have to fix this before harvest, because I don't know how I'm gonna get bales up this hill without dragging it on the bottom. And then there's these bricks right there that either somebody dumped or came down with the rain. So, ooh, come on, big girl, go. I will take this though over having to dodge traffic in town, which we are gonna have to probably move to town here in a little while. And with it being the weekend and a Friday, it is also graduation weekend for a lot of the high schools. So going that way is not gonna be an adventure. But the rain looks like it's held off, so we might get maybe 100 acres done today. The problem is now the little fields that we're on, it takes Matt a while to get that done, along with Andy, because he's rolling. Oh, the neighbors have a little pony, look. So cute. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're missing the pony. This is how I have to spray now, because she lays right there. So I'm gonna go back to the shop and wait on the boys to catch up, and then I'll get more marching orders and go from there.
Kelly's already headed over there to McClary's and Sharp. She's going to spray that middle field where we did the clearing and joining those fields, and the cover crop's already burned down. She's going to spray that first so I can get that planted first, and then she's going to do Sharps, and then she's going to come back and finish up there around the houses and stuff. Hopefully this wind dies down a little bit where it won't be blowing chemical into their yard.
Okay, so when I get down here, just take the crimper over to the middle field over there in the clearing.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be anything to crimp over there. Just once she starts on Sharp, give it about 10-15 minutes and then get in there and crimp that. You might want to stop there by the shop and fill your tractor up with fuel. The fuel key should be in the lock.
Okay, I will do that.
Well, looks like our borrowed time hasn't come to an end yet. It's after lunch and the initial storms passed by. There is nothing in the area. There's a few cells starting to build up over in Arkansas. It's going to be working our way later on today, but looks like we're going to be able to get most of the day in. So we got about 7-8 acres left over here on Ellington, and then move up there to McClary's and Sharps where we did all that track hoe work and clearing and stuff, and we got 36 acres there, so that'll take us until later on in the afternoon, and that's going to be all the seed I got in the planter. And I said if we make it that far, I think I'm just going to call it quits. Thank my fortune I was able to get that much of the day in and not risk putting any more seed in the ground, because we'd have to travel further on up into Madison County and everything. So if we get done with McClary's and Sharps, I don't think I'm going to risk any more. Just be thankful with what we got done so far. Well, we just got finished up with Ellington, so we're all done with planting here in Crockett County, about to head up to Madison County. So I stopped by the shop here for a pit stop. In such a hurry to get to the field, tried to get so much planted before the rain this morning. I didn't fill up with fuel, so I'd run on fumes, so we stopped to get some. And then also something else happened today. Been watching fuel prices, and we was about to get pretty dang low in our tank over here. I think the level was down somewhere right about there, so called about fuel prices, and they were more reasonable than what they have been in quite some time. And normally we buy like a Bob truckload of fuel, which is around 5,000 gallons, and that'll get us through a good part of the year. This year I inquired about buying a tanker load of it. Normally there's like a 2 to 3 cent per gallon difference in a Bob truckload and a tanker load of fuel, and with interest rates the way they are, you know, it just doesn't make sense to carry extra fuel on hand and be paying the interest on it for a 2 to 3 cent per gallon difference. But anyway, this year there wound up being a 16 cent per gallon difference. So I think that load cost me $2.43 a gallon. So we went ahead and got a tanker load. It probably won't be quite enough to get us through the rest of the year, but that ought to get us pretty dang close. The one downside, they just pumped like 7,500 gallons in there, and apparently it disturbed a bunch of sediment on the bottom, and now it's done got sucked into my filter, and it's slow as Christmas. So it's going to take several weeks for that sediment in that old tank to settle back out. So guess I better buy a stock of filters, because we're going to go through them quite a bit.
The field that Matt came over here and got rid of those trees in the middle. It has made my life 10 times easier. I was able to just go on through. Only had to fold up once, which is to come over here, which my partner in crime over here decided to use the crimper on the pasture over here. So that's our new tagline now. Crimper. It's just not for cover crops. It's also for pasture ground when it's too freaking wet. Call us. We'll come on over. By the way, it's not cheap. We also charge for diesel. Oh, and the use of Andy. Yeah, it has really opened up this field, and don't have to worry about hitting tree limbs anymore. The only thing we worry about now is armadillo holes, which I hit 2 over there. But so far, looks good.
All right, we just made it over here to McClary's where we did, all the clearing, tree lines, and join, 3 fields right here. So first thing I'm gonna do, go through here, I'm gonna delete all my old guidance lines that I don't need anymore because I'm gonna make new ones. All right, where I'm at is I'm on the far end of the bottom. It's a lot wider this way than it is right there. We got kind of a narrow neck, and the bottom narrows up there. So this used to be a field. There was a ditch right here where the green is, and there's another field over here, and then the big bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of try and angle straight over to that tree line, and then I'm gonna try and make a gentle curve to go down and follow the tree line, and that should give me the longest passes in this field with a minimal amounts of turning around. All right, we got a new guidance line started, so we're gonna hit start to start recording. This is gonna be a curved line, not an AB line. Then I'm gonna drive straight towards that point, and I'm gonna try and keep my speed pretty quick, because it seems like the slower you go, the less straight you'll be. You kind of wander back and forth a little bit, so we'll keep our speed up. That'll give us a chance of being as straight as possible. And then we want to try and make a gentle curve to the right, because as we go over that way, that curve is going to get sharper and sharper and sharper. All right, it's still a little rough here. We're going to slow down. All right, now we're going to try and make about as straight a line as we can going down to the other end. And we're still keeping a good way from the tree line, because those trees have still got roots coming out in the field, and no sense in planting right up next to them because it's not going to make anything anyway. And then looking at my field boundary here, we're planting about the same way that we were before, but all that competition that was right there at the edge is not going to be there now. And I gotta continually fight myself, not wanting to ease over there closer and closer and closer. All right, here we are at the other end. Now we're gonna hit stop. And that's gonna be our roads from here on out. Well, I gotta say, planting this one bigger field, definitely a lot more pleasant than what it has been in the past. I think I laid out that line just perfectly. We had just a minimal of turning around. Don't have this big grove of trees right out here in the middle we got to drive around now. But anyway, that's going to conclude all of our conventional teal planting, or just straight no-till planting. Everything else is going to be cover crop. So I'm glad we was able to get all of that done today before the rain. Like I said, it takes forever to dry out. Now, whether it actually comes up or not, time will tell. But anyway, we got about 25 more acres left on this farm, and about 25 more acres of seed, and I think we're going to call it a day. It's about 4:30, so that ought to work out just right. Don't forget done before the storms get here, because I believe they're building over in Arkansas. All right, we got done with the back half of the farm. We're going up here to the front and using our newly widened trail here, so we don't have to go all the way around. Let's about to find out if I cut it wide enough. We're good on that side. We're good on that side, it looks like, even though I probably could have made it a little wider and smoothed it a little closer to the edge there. But it was a little muddy when I was doing it. But if I'm getting through here with my planter, won't have no problem getting through here with my header. Well, we got our full day in. We got our 100 acres done, and the sun's still shining outside. Not for long. It'll be getting dark here in about 30 minutes or so, but yeah, we could go on to the next field, but I should be just about out of seed. Don't have any at the next field, and I think we pushed our luck far enough today, so we're just gonna call today a win and go home a little early, and we'll see what it does tonight. And I don't know if we continue to miss it rest of the night like we had today. We'll be back out in the field tomorrow. I mean, we got about right around 200 acres of cotton left to do, so that will be easily doable in 2 days. I mean, we'll probably get it done in a day and a half, as long as we don't have any issues or anything. But whether that's going to be this weekend or sometime next week, so we'll just have to wait and see what the weather does. I mean, there's really nothing over there in Arkansas that's headed up our way. Everything that's in Arkansas is definitely going to go north of us, and nothing else is built up further down to the south that would come up towards us. So maybe we'll get lucky and miss yet again another rain chance. I tell you what, today has just been an absolute blessing, because every hour we can get with that cottonseed in the ground before it gets a hard rain, a cold rain, a warm rain, any kind of rain, every hour that cottonseed can get into the ground is just gets it that much closer to getting up without, you know, rotting or, you know, being packed into the ground by heavy rain or soil crushing over or anything like that. So that first that we planted on Wednesday, you know, it's now had 2.5 days on it. I mean, I feel pretty confident about what we planted that first day. I feel more confident about what we planted the second day. Today, I don't have any confidence on it unless we miss that rain tonight. Like I said, every hour we can get with that seed in the ground before we get a rain is just going to be that much more beneficial to it. So we got an extra 12 hours that I really wasn't planning on so far, so I'm tickled about that. But anyway, Andy just headed up to Porter Cable. That's going to be the next farms on our list, and if we get lucky, we'll see y'all back out in that field in the morning.